Hello, everyone. Thank you for your interest in Boston Congress of Public Health Thought Leadership for Public Health Fellowship, Cohort 6. My name is Sabath Usenabong, and I serve as the director of the fellowship. So we've created this short recording to walk you through the program and the application process. In this session, I will briefly cover what the Boston Congress of Public Health is, the mission of the Thought Leadership Fellowship, who should apply, what makes you a strong candidate, what the fellowship experience would look like, and key dates for the application process. And of course, you have the opportunity to reach back out to us if you have any questions or concerns. So about BCPH, the Boston Congress of Public Health, our mission basically is to democratize public health through the lens of social justice. So we want to ensure that public health information is easily accessible to the populations across the world. So we want to transcend the traditional boundary of academia and medicine and ensure that we support emerging and established thought leaders, researchers, advocates who are committed to public health equity and social justice. So for BCPH, we have two activity centers, which we termed our BCPH Studio and our BCPH Academy. So for BCPH Academy, we provide leadership training and public health education. It offers courses, certificate programs, conferences, and research events for students, researchers, clinicians, and professionals around the world. So some of our flagship programs are the Health Innovators Awards, our 40 under 40 public health catalyst. I'm sure some of us might have seen the promotions going on. We have our research scholars program and other programs that we do within the BCPH Academy. Then for BCPH Studios, it focuses on producing and sharing public health knowledge through different media. This includes blogs, podcasts, interviews, webinars, and videos. These materials are shared through platforms such as our BCPH websites, our YouTube, and other social media channels, including TikTok. Now, going right into the Thought Leadership Fellowship proper, the mission of the Thought Leadership Fellowship is to support the next generation of public health thought leaders, to promote public health advocacy and health equity, to create space for diverse public health ideas and voices, and to provide training and mentorship for emerging public health communicators. So the fellowship gives participants like yourself the opportunity to develop their voices and share ideas with a global public health audience. So our audience cuts across North America, South America, the global South, including Africa. And if you were to come in as a fellow, you have the opportunity to reach this diverse audience as much as you can. So next, we'll be looking at who can apply and who should apply for the fellowship. So we welcome applicants from a wide range of backgrounds. You may apply if you're working towards a degree in such as Bachelor of Art, Bachelor of Science, or a PhD. We're also looking for someone with relevant professional experience in public health or related field, or a recent high school graduate with a strong vision and interest in public health. Applicants should also have a strong writing skills, especially the ability to communicate public health ideas to a general audience. So what we want to ensure that is our pool of applicants is rich, is diverse, seeing that we have diverse audience. So if you're someone with some of those characteristics that we just mentioned, you possess a strong writing skills, you really have um you really have a thought or a voice you want to put out there, the fellowship is for you. So next we look at what really makes you a strong candidate and how you can go on to apply. So from the previous five cohorts that we've done, strong candidates usually demonstrate some of these characteristics that we've highlighted here. One is alignment with our mission, the BCPH mission, which is to democratize public health through the lens of social justice and a good understanding of public health topics. So you have an idea or a topic you really want to put out there. We need strong candidates who have a good understanding of those public health topics and a candidate who has a clear vision for content that they want to create. So over the years, we've seen that candidates who have that specific thing they want to communicate go on to be successful during the fellowship period. So we always look out for candidates who have a clear vision for their content and what they want to create. And also a candidate with a unique perspective that adds to the public health discussion. So we always look for, candidates that have unique or a peculiar perspective to public health issues. They have a particular target audience or they have a particular topic which they have a new perspective or a fresher perspective that they want to share with their audience. We also look at for such candidates. Then we also look at for candidates who are able to produce strong blogs, podcasts, or videos. So seeing that this particular cohort would be focusing on podcasting, we are looking for those candidates who are able to even demonstrate some form of um, technical know-how to do that. Then finally, we are looking at candidates with good time management and motivation to complete the fellowship. So the fellowship is very intense, and within 2, 3, 4 months maximum, you're put in a space where you have to learn about public health in general, about how to go about your thought leadership, about how to produce podcasts, and even go on to produce those podcasts in themselves. So we look out for candidates who are able to manage their time effectively and have that strong motivation to complete the fellowship. So experiences with content platform like WordPress or social media, they would really be helpful if you have some sort of experience in producing podcasts or using some of those tools, but they are not required. But if you have those sort of skills, they would come in really handy during the course of the fellowship. So we've tried to highlight some of our past cohorts and some of the topic that they try to talk about during their fellowship period. So we have Kate from Nigeria. She was really looking at the impact of air pollution in the Niger Delta in Nigeria, and I think a focus area was in Port Harcourt, where they had a bit of environmental concerns where you have soot in the atmosphere and, you know, populace people around those communities and those towns, they experience some sort of blackout, seeing charcoal in the atmosphere or soot, if you might want to call it that as well. We also have Brian, who went on to interview some community people, community doctors for lung cancer screening. We have Dr. Isioma, who really talked about she focused on women and things that has to do with women's reproductive health. Likewise, Dr. Hannah, she's in the UK now, one of our past fellows who really talked about female genital mutilation in Malaysia. So these are some of the topics that some of our past cohorts have talked about. We have Dr. Truett that focused on AI in terms of using it for psychotherapy. Then we also saw Dr. Ikuta who focused on neurosurgery, how to leverage technology for brain health. So we have a host of different topics that past fellows have gone on to do. But what we are really encouraging is those topics should focus on health equity, or they should address issues that are often overlooked in mainstream public health discussion. And of course, each fellow you would go on to choose your own target audience depending on the topic that you choose. So so these are some of the content stroke interests. So it has to cover public health, and it has to cover public health, and you have to ensure that those topics are related to health equity and social justice. And of course, we still have, if you go to bcpa.org or bcphr.org as well, you would see different topics that different fellows have gone on to talk about. So for the selection for this cohorts, for the five previous cohorts, we've been taking between 5 to 10 fellows, and this is still going to be the case this year as well. During the selection, we consider the diversity of public health topics, the diversity of geographic regions, and the diversity of lived experience as well. So for us as BCPH and as the steering committee for the fellowship, our goal is to build a balanced group that can learn from each other and grow together. So we have people from North America, from Africa, from Asia in the room with different academic and professional backgrounds and lived experiences to want to ensure that we give access to these different voices so that we have a balanced cohort this year as well. So we've tried to highlight some how the fellowship would work, some major dates for the fellowship. And what I want to ensure is that you know what you are coming into as a fellow. So these are major dates that we would work around the fellowship. So applications are currently ongoing, and right now this is the information session. So the application would close on March 31st, and it would have interviews take place on April 11th. So after April 11th, we'll get back to everyone that has taken part for the interview by April 14th. And the fellowship kick starts in about 10 days time, April 25th. So between April 25th and May 24th, we'll be having um, our curriculum delivery where we have faculty members go through 5 modules of the fellowship. So these 5 modules would essentially prepare you to be able to come up with um, 3 podcast production, which is a requirement to be successful during the fellowship or to have a successful fellowship. Then in course of the curriculum delivery, we would have what we call podcast dry run. So essentially, we want to give fellows the opportunity to be able to present one of their podcast as a live webinar. So you would have live audience, people would subscribe. You would go on to present your podcast if you want to interview someone there or you want to go solo, that's your prerogative. But essentially, every fellow will get to do a live webinar of their podcast just to give them that real experience of, you know, having to put together your podcast, having people listen, getting real-time feedback and feedback at the end as to what people think about your thought leadership. So this is a very important aspect of the fellowship as it really prepares the fellows to go back, implement those feedback to the rest of your podcast and come up with a quality production. So every fellow will go on to produce 3 podcasts within the course of the fellowship. And of course, would have a period between June or July, June, July, and August for promotions of those podcasts. then we would have the fellowship graduation by August 29th. So please take note of these dates. And before you go on to apply, as one of the what makes a strong candidate that we mentioned is you're able to be available for these different timelines and you're motivated to stay through the course of the fellowship and of course fulfill the requirements of the fellowship as well. So for our content promotions, we have our MailChimp, we have our Substack right now, which we're using. We have promotions, different social media platforms, including SoundCloud, TikTok, Spotify, and the rest of them. So we have a really, really large audience for you to spread your thought leadership to. So just like I mentioned, we have our YouTube, we have SoundCloud. These are some of our fellows who really, really utilized the YouTube and SoundCloud, and they've had so many engagements so far within the course of 1 year and 2 years. So publishing content, just like I've mentioned, we have um, we have our BCPH websites and social media pages. So during the course of the fellowship, we would get to learn some of these skills. And of course, fellows are free to be creative in order to have um, their own unique blend of, their thought leadership. So you're free to put together your podcast in any way you want it, so long as it will get to your target audience. So at the end of the fellowship, fellows go on to, get a certificate. And of course, we have different awards like the best fellows, the most creative and provocative. So it's really great when you get those feedback as to your thought leadership, your contents are really creative, you're the best fellow, and you can go on to use those certificates anywhere. Then finally, how do we go on to apply for the fellowship? So application for this cohort is ongoing. Sorry, it's supposed to be 2026 here. So application for the fellowship is currently ongoing and the application would close by March 31st. So this is the QR scanner. We can go on to scan for this and apply. So once you go on there, the requirements are very straightforward. We have to apply and ensure that everything will have its in place because screening would take place and you would be invited for the interviews. Then finally, if you have any question or concern, you can scan this QR code or go to this web address to provide your questions. We have our team to respond within 24 hours to any questions or concerns that you might have. So once again, thank you for your interest in the BCPA Thought Leadership for Public Health Fellowship. We are excited to learn about your ideas, your perspective, and how you hope to contribute to public health conversations. If you have any questions, please again submit your questions through the QR code provided, and we would respond within 24 hours. We look forward to reviewing your applications for this cohort 6. Thank you.